Hello everyone, and thanks very much for coming back and joining me this evening for another Retro Fridays. I have been loving doing this series. I have been doing this, gosh, for just over 5 months now from what I can remember from looking through my playlist, which is so cool. I enjoy coming on and doing this, and I will be putting this up as I always do as a premiere. Although the past 2 weeks that hasn't actually quite worked out for me, and I think that was my own fault, and I've figured it out. So hopefully I have got it right this time and it'll show up and we'll all be able to chat in the live chat, and I look forward to hearing from you all. So what are we going to be doing today? We're just going to jump right in. Of course, as you can tell from the title anyway, we are going to be doing Labyrinth. About Labyrinth because it's such a fantastic movie. You know, we've got lead villain David Bowie, the legend that he is, and I want to briefly say, of course, sadly he is no longer with us, and I thought he was very talented, very, very talented, and from his musical background I thought it was so fantastic how he was pretty much center what am I talking about he was the centre of, the music. He sang a lot of the songs, and of course this is, a musical fantasy story type film. It was brought out in 1986, so a year before I was born. Yay, I'm an 80s baby. I love that I'm an 80s baby. Trust me, 80s were the best years, honestly. And 80s was the best in terms of music, with Michael Jackson, Prince, and I just love 80s songs. But yeah, the 80s I thought was the best. And my favourite David Bowie song, in case anybody is interested, is Let's Dance. Let's dance, put on your red shoes. I just love that song. So this film was directed by the one and only fantastic, legendary Jim Henson. And it was also produced by George Lucas. So of course, when you've got people like that working on a movie, you're going to get an awesome, fantastic story, and you're going to get a brilliant visual movie. And Jim Henson, of course, also worked on The Dark Crystal. And if you know Jim Henson at all, you would obviously know, you're sitting here going, why is Julie trying to educate me that he's done The Dark Crystal? But some people might not know. But The Dark Crystal, of course, was, puppetry throughout for the visuals, done in a studio like this movie was, phenomenal, top notch, right? And the thing is, I don't know if anybody has seen the series on Netflix, The Dark Crystal, but I was so looking forward to that. I loved all the trailers. I reacted to all of them, and I watched the series, and that was absolutely phenomenal. And Date was my favourite, and interestingly, the girl who actually did her puppetry actually lives in Belfast, which isn't actually far from me, to be honest. But that was a fantastic series, and I actually did do a review of that whole first season. And if anybody's interested, in case you're unaware, I have my channel set out with different playlists. So one for Retro Fridays, one for movie and TV series reviews. So if you go to the review section, movie and TV, you'll see it in case you haven't seen it. So moving on though, we had lead villain in this, David Bowie, as I was saying, and we also had Jennifer Connelly, and she's so young in this movie. I should have really looked up what age she was when she did this movie, but I reckon she would have been around maybe 16, 17, maybe 18 at the most, because she looked super young. And I loved seeing that Jennifer Connelly was in the movie Alita Battle Angel by Jim Cameron, because she was really good in that movie. Super cool, and I love that movie so much. I have it on in 4K DVD. And Labyrinth, this is the thing, this was back when, visuals and imagery were just top notch. And back when they really cared about the visuals, they really cared about the imagery, they really cared, and not only about that, but they really cared about having memorable characters. And that's the thing about this movie, is that it does have memorable characters. And obviously, aside from, Jennifer Connelly's character, which was, of course, Sarah, and her little baby brother, which was the baby in the movie, and then also David Bowie. it was all puppetry work, you know, the puppetry visuals the whole way through it, and obviously the whole set, the studio. And see, just to set that set up alone would have took, oh my goodness, forever and a day. Like, it would have been so tedious and so monotonous. Movies like this, the fact that I know so much time and care and effort and heart and soul and sweat, like quite literally sweat, was put into the movie, it makes me actually appreciate more, even if it's a game or if it's a TV show. If I know that so much hard work and dedication was put into it, such as this, such as The Dark Crystal, such as the movie we were talking about last week, for example, Never Ending Story, it makes me like it and have more appreciation for it, if that makes sense, which is why I'm such a huge fan of Sam Raimi. And I know that's so random, but you know, the likes of Evil Dead and things like that, because I have watched a lot of behind the scenes stuff and I am a huge fan of Sam Raimi's, so I know that it wasn't easy. Do you know where I'm coming from? Now, Labyrinth was basically the story of Sarah. It was literally Sarah's journey. You know, Jennifer Connelly, who played her journey of her having to, you know, find her way through the labyrinth to reach the castle to get her baby brother back, basically, from the Goblin King, which was David Bowie, and he played a fantastic villain in this movie. I really like how he portrayed his character in this, and I thought his costumes were super cool as well. So she basically was told that she had 13 hours in order to do this, otherwise the Goblin King was just going to keep her brother, and you know, she would never see him again. And the thing is, throughout this whole entire journey, no matter what I love about her character, is that she realises that she done wrong by saying, like, when her brother was in the car, I wish the goblin would come and get you and all this. But obviously she didn't mean it. But like, she was so determined from the get-go, like, no, I'm not giving up, I'm not going back, I have to get my baby brother back. And she was a very determined character, and you know, she sort of showed me, especially when I was younger, that you just never give up. You just have to keep going, no matter how hard things may seem. Obviously it's like a massive freaking maze, and I'd be like, yeah, rather her than me. I'm not going to be trying to run around, find all that round that maze. I've been in a maze and it's not fun. It's like, get me heck freaking well, no, I need to get out of here. But moving on. And then we see her throughout her journey bump into like some really interesting and cool characters. And as I was saying earlier, they're so memorable. Like, you always remember these characters. I do personally anyway from this movie. I always remember Ludo, who played, you know, the big cool looking Gruffalo, and he was so cool. I loved him. He's probably my favourite in this whole entire movie, along with the little fox. I can never really decide, but what was so random was the little fox was just absolutely hilarious, and the little fox and Ludo, the big Gruffalo, were having a fight, and it was so random. It was like a Gruffalo and a little tiny fox fighting. This is so random, and that's what I love. I just love random, because you know, guys, I am as random as you're going to get them. I am as random as they're going to come. If you know anybody that's more random than me, please let me know, because I think you're wrong. But yeah, I probably disagree with you on that one. But they were fighting at one point, and Ludo just grabbed the little fox, which was like, just like tossed him, just threw him out. That was absolutely hilarious. And we also had Hoggle, who I absolutely really took to his character and have always adored Hoggle, because Hoggle was just such a lovable character, and you could tell that he just wanted to help Sarah to, you know, find her way, so that, and they kind of had like a really cool sort of sidekick on their little journey, sort of adventure, whatever you want to call it. Like, he was a cool sidekick, it would be the best way to describe him. That's pretty much what Hoggle was in this movie, right? And then we also, I also not only loved the relationship between them two, but especially I actually really loved the relationship between Hoggle and the Goblin King, of course, David Bowie, because it was funny, because he obviously knew that he was trying to deceive him and like trying to help Sarah out, and he would just magically, it's really cool the way he just magically appears here and there throughout the movie, and he'd be like, pretty much like, dude, I know what you're up to, I know you're freaking well trying to help this girl, what are you playing at, you're deceiving me, sort of thing. And talking off that scene, there's a scene I want to talk about, because I know it might sound really like tedious, but it's actually my all-time favourite scene from this whole entire movie, and I'll explain why in a minute. And it's also in terms of the set and how the visuals look as well. But there's like this stone statue of, not like the full face of the Goblin King, but like about this much of his face, right? And hopefully you'll know the scene that I'm talking about. Otherwise, I'm going to sit here feeling like a real complete and utter fool at the minute. But at first, it was a scene with Hoggle, right? Before he appears, before the Goblin King, before Jareth appears, right? And you just see this statue of his face, but it looks that it's just one statue made out of stone. But it actually isn't, because when Jareth then appears, he's sort of standing against like the tallest stone that's engraved in his face, out of his face. And you can then see, when you sort of look around and you see the set, you can see that there is actually space between that, and then there's other stones as well that actually, so it's kind of like a three-dimensional version of the Goblin King made in the form of a stone statue. And then you realise, oh my gosh, that's like 3 or 4 different stones like together to make this one stone that looks like it's just, at first glance, just one stone. And I don't know, I'm a weirdo. I like really looking deep into things, and when I noticed that, I was like, that is so cool. Wow. And as well, something that I loved as well was, there was all these like spider webs and everything around it, and just how those two characters interacted within that scene. And then also there was all these spider webs, and they were like glistening, and all the walls were glistening, and it just looked like a really stunning scene visual wise, and just the way it was done, I absolutely loved it. And I thought it was great interaction between those two characters. But something I love is that the whole, everywhere in the labyrinth is just all like glistening, like sparkly magic. And I love magicalness, guys, I'm not even going to lie. Probably why I like Tinkerbell, like pixie dust and all that stuff. Like, I'm not like glittery as in like a girly girl, because I'm not a girly girl. Definitely not, believe you me. But glittery in the sense of, give me some magic, and this movie definitely give me magic and then some. I always enjoy myself watching this movie, and look at the effort even that they would have had to go into actually, getting someone to go around and making everything literally sparkle and glisten like that. Even the forest and everything that was in this movie, that's another cool scene as well. And everybody, please let me know what your favourite scene or scenes are, or your favourite character or plural characters are in this film. And just as I'm saying, this is just such a visually pleasing to the eye movie, and it's just beautiful to watch. Even I think it's a film that it's an all-rounder. It's good for the family. Adults can still enjoy it. And I think the reason why I enjoyed it a lot was the same with, Never Ending Story, is it's got that nostalgia clinched onto it, and maybe other people who are maybe younger now and they watch it, I don't think they would get the same vibe from it as what I do. But for me, it's just one of them nostalgic movies that I love, and that I can revisit time and time again and still feel nostalgic and still enjoy the movie. But we all have different experiences of movies, guys, but to me, I think no matter what anybody says, if anybody tried to tell me like it wasn't well made, like, I'm not going to sit and argue with them or sit and say you're wrong, because everybody is entitled to their opinions, and everybody on this channel, by the way, always never ever feel like you're not entitled to have an opinion. That is not how I roll on my channel. Write whatever the freak you want, like, to be quite frankly honest. But what I'm saying is, I'd be sitting probably thinking, they don't think this is a good movie and a well put together movie. Okay. But yeah, so it's hard for me to pick, honestly, between the Fox and Ludo, but I don't know. I like them both anyways. But besides the Goblin King statue scene that I was talking about, that I obviously liked because probably got ridiculously too excited about it, like, calm down, Julie. But there is another scene with, when Sarah was at the doors, and there was these two big door knockers, like the big circle part, and the two door knockers had faces, obviously, and they were talking. I thought it was really, really well done. I honestly thought that was fantastic and really impressive the way they done that. And then it was funny, I can't remember exactly, I haven't watched it in a while, but what they said, but I think she took like one of the circle knocker parts off one of their mouths, and then she went to put it back in again, and one of them said, "No, I don't want that back on my mouth," or something like that. It was so funny. I think that part's really funny. And I also like the scene at the end with the steps, you know, and it's just like whole like messing with her mind. He was messing, sorry, excuse me. He was literally messing with her mind, Sarah's mind, and her brother was kind of like climbing up the steps and everything, and she couldn't find him no matter what she'd done. And it kind of reminded me of Harry Potter-esque. I was at the Harry Potter studios 2 years ago. I love Harry Potter, and I'm actually wearing a Harry Potter snitch necklace, in case anyone's interested. But Julie, you're not here to show your jewellery. You're here to do Retro Friday, so just freaking well get on with it. But yes, we, where was it, guys? Right, I'm going off the bait and freaking well track here as usual. See, this is what I do. I start talking about one thing and I get excited about another, and then I just go off on a tangent, and it's like, it really is annoying. Sorry, guys. Please bear with me. I know I can be a bit much. But anyways, another thing, yeah, it kind of reminded me of Harry Potter, basically, esque, because of the stairs and everything, right? And I have all the Harry Potter movies. I love Harry Potter. But we're going to move on from Harry Potter because this isn't a Harry Potter Friday review or some nonsense. But it also kind of slightly reminded me, and I'm kind of going to go off on another little tangent, but it's a good one. But you know the movie Inception? I love Inception so much. And if you haven't seen that movie, what are you doing? Why are you not watching it? This is what you could be doing for your Friday night. I don't even mind if you want to leave this video and you want to go and watch Inception. Now, it's a long movie, but I will be honest, it's visually stunning, and it kind of reminded me of that kind of slightly, but then more so I was then thinking of Doctor Strange, because Inception really reminds me of the Marvel movie Doctor Strange. And Doctor Strange, in case anybody is interested, I've had like a bit of a massive obsession with Doctor Strange since I seen that movie, and honestly, you have no idea how much I love the dude Benedict Cumberbatch, because that movie was freaking flawless. I didn't see a darn gosh thing wrong with that movie, and I cannot wait for the next Doctor Strange movie. You have no idea. But it kind of Inception reminded me of Doctor Strange, is what I'm trying to say, with the visuals and everything, like moving around and rotating into itself and everything. Really awesome. So, but we're not here to talk about Doctor Strange either, Julie, or Harry Potter. My goodness, this is turning into me talking about literally every movie on the planet. I'm just looking over at my DVD shelf and thinking, yeah, we'll talk about Indiana Jones, we'll talk about Jumanji, we'll talk about Family Guy, we'll talk about, what else have we got here? Futurama, why not? Let's talk about Futurama. No, I'm just joking, guys, we're not going to talk about Futurama, right? We're going to talk about other cool things that I thought were worth a mention, something like that. So I thought it was really cool when Sarah had to choose between two different doors, right? And she was like, oh, this is going to be really easy peasy, or something like that, or a piece of cake or whatever. And she was overly confident. And then the next thing, she just like fell down, and then there was all these like creepy hands like trying to grab her on the way down. And that really wowed me when I first seen it. I can remember it was like, oh, that's creepy. But even watching it now still, you're like, oh, that is really well done. That's impressive. Like, and for the time that back in the day, guys, when they done this, just doing that one scene would have been really monotonous, and a lot of work would have had to go into that, because they're puppetry hands, right? So like, think of the amount of hands. If you know the scene I'm talking about, they were coming down either side of her, the tons of arms and hands. So that would have took forever. They would have had to have like separate people doing the puppeteer work just for those arms, just for like what, not a short second, but a very short scene, amount of screen time that it got. So this film, it even had, obviously aside from the fact that we're saying David Bowie does, the singing and everything, aside from that, when you hear music in general, I thought the music was very, and the sound effects and everything were very mysterious, which really worked well for the, the whole tone of this movie, which was great, of course. I don't have any issues with any of the songs, to be honest. My favourite in it, in case anyone's interested, is Magic Dance. That's my favourite song in that whole entire movie, and I know it's maybe a bit cliche because it's very catchy, and it's probably most people's favourites, and it's in my head right now. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, it's in my head. But anyways, it's so sad like that David Bowie is no longer with us. I can remember the day I found out that he'd passed away, and I was I was pretty bummed out. It was really sad, like, for the rest of that whole night and even the next couple of days after that. It's like, oh no, like, we've lost such a great talent. But yeah, it's sad. So yes, we had a great cast. At least we still have this movie to, you know, appreciate from the one and only David Bowie. And we also had, like with Jim Henson's The Dark Crystal, this was recorded in a studio with puppeteer work. I take my hats off to anybody who wants to go out of their way to go to that time and effort to do movies and do things like this. And that's why I was so happy when I found out that Netflix was doing the show The Dark Crystal, and you don't even understand. Like, I was just like, when's it coming out? And like, oh, another day to wait, another like however long to wait. And I was so happy with it. It just got better and better and better and better. And oh my gosh, wow, the visuals in that series. If you still haven't watched it, by the way, I watched it by the Bay of Pirates. Didn't watch it on Netflix because I don't have Netflix and I don't have Disney Plus, because you can't even get Disney Plus if I wanted to either, because it's not over here yet anyways. But if you want to watch it, try and watch it somehow. I'm not the smartest with technology, and if I was able to watch it somehow, then I think you can. Don't know what that was, but yeah, it's fantastic, honestly. And if you're, you know, a big fan of Jim Henson's work, you definitely 100% have to check out the series The Dark Crystal. It was honestly very well done, and story wise and everything was fantastic. I didn't have any negativity towards it. I didn't have nothing bad to actually say about it, to be honest. And I think it was really cool that Mark Hamill, of course, was voicing on it. But all I could hear was Joker. It's just me, but all I could hear was Joker. But that's what I loved about the guy even more. It's Mark Hamill. It's my Luke Skywalker. Heck to the freaking well, yes. I will be honest, Jim Henson is brilliant at what he does. This film had a beautiful ending. It had a very endearing and sweet ending. And then they all showed up when she was looking in the mirror and everything. And of course she got her brother back, you know. And yeah, it's just such a great movie. And if anybody hasn't seen it, you know, when you have kids or whatever, I would recommend, you know, have a movie night tonight or tomorrow night. Tomorrow's Saturday, so whenever you can over the weekend, get the popcorn out. Sweet popcorn's my favourite. I don't know why I'm telling you that, because you may or may not even be interested. Because you know what, guys, if anybody handed me salted popcorn, I'd go, get the frig away out of here. I ain't eating that. Unless that's sweet flavoured. Disgusting. Do not bring salted popcorn near me. But another fun fact, I am very addicted to popcorn. It's one of my favourite foods of all time. In fact, it probably is my favourite food of all time. But I've tried to cut it down. I've tried to cut back on it for a long time, and I haven't ate popcorn in a while. Now I kind of want to eat popcorn. If you knew me and you like walked up to me and I was eating popcorn and you're like, oh hi Julie, can I have some of your popcorn? I'd be like, heck no. But if there was any popcorn in my house, trust me, I would just eat it all. It would all be gone. It would just all be gone. I'm just so glad I don't have popcorn in the house. I normally only get it now when I go to see a movie, when I go to the movies, and then I really look forward to it. And I don't really drink fizzy drinks, so I'll always get like a fizzy drink with it. It's like, I'll be like, oh, I'm treating myself or something. Anyways, thanks very much for coming and watching another Retro Fridays. Nearly forgot the name of the actual series there for a second. Wow, Julie, you created the series for your channel and you almost I just had a bit of a mind thing, you know, going on there. But thank you so much for coming and watching, and for actually really supporting these. I honestly, when I first started, thought, I don't know how well people are going to like these, but the amount of people that turn up in the live chat when I first premiere these is amazing. It actually just makes me so happy. And honestly, Friday's my favourite day of the week, because I know that it's going to be the day for uploading my Retro Fridays, and I can't express with words how much all the kindness means to me, and not just on this, just on my channel in general. So thank you so much, and I am planning on starting like maybe live streams and stuff like that soon on my channel. I definitely need to figure it all out though and get my head around it, because I'm the type of person that before I do something, I want to know the ins and outs of it before it actually happens and unfolds, and that I don't want to mess anything up for you guys, and I want to be able to come on and do live streams now and again, just might not be all that often, but just now and again, you know, talking on different things like movies and TV shows and just other things. I'm trying to plan a couple of different things, so we will see what happens in terms of things like that, live streams, and I'll let you keep us updated once I get things sorted and planned out, and other, you know, get things sorted basically. I might actually bring other people on as well, so if that's something that you would be interested in, that's great, because I am planning on bringing other people on as well. So yes, thank you so much for coming and watching, and I will see you all in my next video. But until then, don't forget that the force will be with you always, because it is 100% with David Bowie. Bye.